Hello and welcome to all our world to AM Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Jumai Manson. Now, a quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 76. Now the news in full. Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum has visited Darul Jamal, a town at the border with Cameroon that hosts the military base on the heavy military escort. The governor, whose visit follows a terror attack that killed 63 people, including 5 soldiers, said the terrorists unleashed the mayhem on the town where residents had been returned a month earlier from a displacement camp. Over now to Uyi Agbomofuigbe.
The latest attack raises questions about Nigeria's push in recent years to close down camps for internally displaced persons and return their inhabitants to the countryside. Governor Zulum confirmed to journalists at the scene of the attack the casualty figure.
It's very sad. This community was resettled some months ago and they are going about their normal businesses, but unfortunately they had a Boko Haram attack yesterday. So we are here purposely to commiserate with them and to build their resilience. As of now, we confirm that 63 have lost their lives. Yes, both the civilians and the army. But the civilian casualties are known.
While jihadist violence has waned since the peak of the Boko Haram insurgency between 2013 and 2015, militants, including rival Islamic State's West African province, continue to launch attacks across rural areas in the northeast, a situation that has now made Governor Zulum to say the numerical strength of the Nigerian army requires an upward review.
The numerical strength of the Nigerian army is not enough to contain the situation.
Residents said the attack began around 8:30 p.m. local time when dozens of fighters arrived on motorbikes firing assault rifles and torching homes. Uyi Agbomofuigbe reporting for Global TV News.
In the meantime, the United Nations has strongly condemned the killing of 63 people by suspected Boko Haram terrorists in Darul Jamal, Borno State. United Nations Humanitarian Coordinator Mohammed Fall described the attack, which left 5 soldiers and 58 civilians dead, while over 20 homes were razed, as deeply shocking and unacceptable. He called on Nigerian authorities to urgently investigate the incident, bring perpetrators to justice, and set up a protection for vulnerable communities. The Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, and federal government workers have demanded an urgent review of the national minimum wage, insisting that the current 70,000 naira is no longer sustainable. They made the demand following the bold steps taken by several states across the country to increase the minimum wage of their workers above the 70,000 naira benchmark in response to the prevailing economic realities. The labor unions and workers said in the face of galloping inflation, rising cost of food, transportation, housing, and other essential services, the 70,000 naira minimum wage could no longer sustain them. Nigeria will witness a total lunar eclipse on Sunday, September 7, 2025, which took place yesterday. Now, the event expected to last about 82 minutes and be visible across Africa, Asia, Australia, and parts of Europe. Experts explain that during the eclipse, the Earth's shadow will completely block sunlight from reaching the moon, leaving only a dim reddish glow caused by atmospheric refractions. Nigerians can safely observe the entire speculations, which they did with their naked eye yesterday. Unlike solar eclipse, while other African nations, including Ghana, Cameroon, and Niger, will also experience the rare phenomenon. Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project has dragged the renewed Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission to court over its proposal to raise salaries of top political office holders, including the President, Vice President, governors, deputies and lawmakers. Now, in a suit filed at the Federal High Court Abuja, the organization argued that the planned hike is unlawful, unconstitutional and inconsistent with the rule of law, urging the court to strike it down. The group further demanded that the commission review salaries and allowances of political leaders downward to reflect Nigerians' harsh economic realities, warning that the proposed raise undermines constitutional provisions and public interest. Over now to northern leaders have warned President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that worsening insecurity in the region has reached an unacceptable level, calling for an urgent cabinet reshuffle and stronger reforms. In a communique after the Abuja meeting, the forum said bandits, terrorists and kidnappers continue to ravage communities daily, leaving farmers stranded and highways unsafe. Convener Dr. Dominic Alacha stated that Nigerians are suffering from economic hardship, insecurity and social anxiety, urging Tinubu to match the rhetoric with decisive action to restore confidence and safety in the north. The APC Deputy National Chairman of North, Ali Bukar Dalori, has led a voter mobilization campaign in Kunduga, Borno State, urging communities affected by floods and Boko Haram insurgency to register under the continuous voter registration exercise. He explained that many residents had lost or misplaced their voters' cards due to displacement and disasters, making fresh registration critical for them to participate in elections. Community and youth leaders praised the initiative, promising to spread the message and ensure massive turnout in subsequent engagements. Kano State Police Command has issued a public alert after the Yayasa Bridge in Dudunwada local government area collapsed following heavy rainfall. Police spokesperson Abdullahi Haruna said the bridge, which connects Kano to Kaduna, Plateau, Benue and the eastern region, have been condoned off to prevent accidents, with traffic officers and road safety personnel deployed for smooth management. The Commissioner of Police, Ibrahim Adamu Bakori, urged motorists to follow alternative routes, cooperate with officers and remain patient as authorities work with relevant agencies to mitigate the impact and restore safe passage. The federal government has launched a renewed Hope Empowerment Program for widows and survivors of gender-based violence in Benue State. Benue correspondent Felicity Indere reports from the Government House in Makodi, where the program focused on empowering women. Her report.
20 agro-women entrepreneurs received 1 million naira each, while 100 women got 50,000 naira grants to grow their businesses. 24 survivors of gender-based violence also benefited.
This is for you on behalf of His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Minister of Women Affairs, Hajaya Imam Suleiman Ibrahim, said the initiative underscores President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's commitment to women's empowerment and greater inclusion in agriculture.
Since its inception, Mr. President was very clear about inclusivity. You know, Mr. President's goal is to be able to address women's challenges economically, politically, and socially. Mr. President last month, a few months ago, launched the Social Impact Intervention for women, children, and families in 774 local government. So we're going to go all over to ensure that we domesticate this program. This program is multifaceted. It will help, in the areas of nutrition, energy transition, and addressing energy poverty for women, economically empowering them, protecting them from social vices, and also it will also help address other issues around our school enrollment and retention, because the welfare of the mothers and the stability of the families, translates into that for our children. So it's a huge program and we're committed on this.
Governor Hyacinth Alia, represented by his deputy Sam Ode, welcomed the intervention and committed 500 hectares of land to advance the federal government's Women in Agriculture initiative.
This intervention has tentacles in the 774 local governments of our country, Nigeria. That is quite remarkable. It shows that this government, the administration of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has passion for women. It shows that the government is not unmindful of the pivotal position of women, not only in their homes but in governance spaces.
Benue State government officials said the minister's visit will deepen federal-state collaboration on sustainable women-focused programs in the state.
Our vision in the Benue State Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Welfare is clear: to build a safer, more inclusive and supportive environment for women, children, widow and vulnerable persons. By leveraging the Renewed Hope agenda, we will continue to expand social protection system, broaden across to empowerment opportunities, and safeguard the dignities of every citizen.
Some beneficiaries expressed gratitude.
We've been farming, but the farming, nobody to support us. We are just farming, just to eat, but nothing to even get anything to pay children's school fees. But this in government come, they really help us. At the farm cassava, at the farm potato, at the rear goats and chicken. But since this government come, they have been touching our life through the Minister of Women Affairs. Our farm is good. We can be able now to pay our children's school fees, pay our...
I will add my farm because before I'd have challenge to do the farm because of money. But now as she helped me with the money, I will continue to the farm and I will increase, my farm will increase by the grace of God.
The Renewed Hope Empowerment Program is not just financial support, but a statement of inclusion, giving Benue women the tools to rebuild, recover, and lead in agriculture and beyond. In Makurdi, Felicity Ndere, Global TV News.
Technology, they say, is reshaping the lives of Nigerian youth people. From smartphones to social media, it promises endless opportunities. But it also comes with new risk. Our correspondent, Sadia Yakubu, explores whether this digital wave is lifting youth forward or holding them back. The report.
Nigerian youth are at the heart of the country's digital transformation in the last decade. The spread of mobile phones, internet platforms, and artificial intelligence has redefined how they study, work, and connect with the world. For some, technology has been a game changer, unlocking access to online education, creating paths to remote jobs, and fueling the rise of small digital businesses. Many young people see it as a blessing, one that places opportunities once out of reach right at their fingertips.
So technology has helped us in a lot of ways. Number one, I will start by saying communication. In the olden days, we used to write letter to our friends and family in different states and use post office. But now you have telephone, you have internet, and this has helped us. Even in business, you don't need to have a shop again. Online, you can just post your goods and you will make a lot of sales.
Not everyone shares that optimism. Alongside its benefits, the digital era has also exposed youth to cybercrime, misinformation, and the growing problem of social media addiction. For others, the space has become more of a trap than a tool.
All the youth now, those that are graduates and those on graduates now, they need to talk louder their knowledge and their academic, so that once when they grow and they graduate, come out for their education, they must have something producing.
Another thing is negative information. You have good people posting good information on Google and other platforms. You also have bad people posting things that are not true, causing problems within government, countries, even our celebrities. So you see people go there and learn both good and bad things.
The reality is complex. Whether technology becomes a bridge or a barrier often depends on access, awareness, and how responsibly it is used.
My advice to Nigeria is that let them provide the work for youth so that we can be able to keep ourselves in one thing or other.
As Nigeria continues to embrace the digital age, the real challenge is not in rejecting or accepting technology, but in building systems that channel its power towards inclusion and progress for the nation's young people. The future remains full of promise if innovation is matched with guidance. Sadia Yakubu, Global Television.
You are watching the live broadcast of AM News. When AM News returns, federal government launches initiative to curb 3.5 trillion naira port harvest losses. Details coming shortly, plus foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is AM News on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. In business now, the federal government has launched the Nigeria Post-Harvest System Transformation Program to cut 3.5 trillion annual food losses and strengthen food security. Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, unveiled the initiative at the African Food Systems Forum in Dakar, Senegal, saying it would subsidize food prices, improve storage, and boost farmer incomes. The program will promote household storage technologies, community warehouses, cold rooms, and national silos through public-private partnership, unlocking investment, expanding infrastructure, enhancing exports, and creating jobs across the agricultural value chain. The Nigerian Customs Service Board has approved a new duty-free limit for low-value imports, a move expected to boost cross-border e-commerce and ease trade flows. The initiative includes the creation of dedicated service channels to guide stakeholders on compliance, respond to inquiries, and resolve complaints during implementation. Authorities say the policy will reduce clearance delays, enhance efficiency at entry points, and strengthen Nigerians' role as a regional hub for trade facilitation. Over now to the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria's national leadership has distanced itself from a strike announced by its Western Zone over Dangote Refinery's decision to distribute fuel with its own trucks. In a statement signed by the national ex-officio Douglas Iyeke, Ipman urged members nationwide to disregard the strike and continue operations, stressing that Dangote's move aligns with the Petroleum Industry Act. The National Executive Committee argued that the refinery's direct distribution model will reduce costs, ease financial pressure on marketers, lower pump price, and minimize disruptions from union actions. On the foreign news now, British hard-right leader Nigel Farage has rallied his enthusiastic Reform Party at the start of its annual conference, seizing on the Labour government woes to insist his movement could seize power within 2 years. Addressing the thousands of supporters in Birmingham, central England, Farage said the earlier resignation of Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner showed the government is deep in crisis. Here is Mukhtar Kasim's report.
General election is not due for 4 years. The 61-year-old who rebranded his Brexit party as immigration-fixated reform in 2021 predicted Labour's struggle could force a contest far sooner. Reeling off a list of issues from the record high immigration in recent years to sluggish economic growth and alleged free speech curbs, Farage claimed in front of a crowd of reform-elected officials and members of the two-day event that the United Kingdom is the most dangerous place it has been in his lifetime.
But my sort of big message at the end of this conference, as we head towards those massive elections in Wales, in Scotland, in London, in the Midlands, and elsewhere next year, is that you are the people's army. And to succeed, it needs one thing: discipline.
Reform gathered in Birmingham buoyant after wins in May local elections and leading in most polls over the last 6 months, prompting a growing number of people to eye Farage as Prime Minister in waiting. Mukhtar Kasim, reporting for Global Television News.
More than 15,000 protesters have thronged the streets of Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, demanding that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu strike a deal with Hamas to secure the release of hostages held in Gaza. Families of captives and their supporters warned that expanding the war could further endanger the hostages as pressure grows as Netanyahu amid some of the largest demonstrations in recent months. Despite the mounting calls at home and abroad for a ceasefire, Netanyahu insists that only total victory over Hamas will bring the hostages back as the Israeli military prepares for a deeper offensive in Gaza. Ukraine says Russia has struck Kyiv's main government building for the first time since the war began, killing at least 4 people, including a baby and a young woman. The attack was part of a massive overnight barrage in which more than 800 missiles and drones targeted cities across the country, igniting fires and causing destruction in Kharkiv, Odessa, Semi, and Chernihiv. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has condemned the assault as a deliberate crime to prolong the war, while Russia claimed it hit Ukraine's military, industrial, and transport infrastructure. In sports textile, women's tennis world number 1 Anya Sabalenka has successfully defended her U.S. Open crown with a 6-4, 7-6 win over American Amanda Anisimova in New York. The Brazilian, who now holds 4 Grand Slam titles, became the first woman since Serena Williams in 2014 to win consecutive U.S. Open trophies, scoring a late fight back with Anisimova to seal victory. Despite her opponent's 29 forced errors and struggles with consistency, Sabalenka maintained composure in key moments, finishing the job in a tense tie break to cap another dominant hard-court campaign. Victor Osimhen has ruled out of Nigeria's 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying match day 8 encounter against the Bafana of South Africa. The Galatasaray striker was forced off injury in the first half of the Super Eagles' 1-0 victory over Amavubi of Rwanda at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium. Max Verstappen has powered to victory as the Italian Grand Prix in Monza ending Le Macron's dominance this season with a flawless drive from pole position after setting the fastest lap in Formula One history. The Red Bull driver held off Lando Norris and championship leader Oscar Piastri, but still trails the Australian by 94 points in the standing, making a 5th consecutive world title unlikely. Verstappen's 3rd win of the season and 2nd in Italy this year capped a landmark weekend, while Ferrari's Charles Leclerc disappointed home fans by finishing 4th, and Lewis Hamilton settled for 6th after a grand penalty. As we end Global TV AM News, here's a quick look at our top stories again. Brought to you that Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum has visited Dar el Jamal, a town at the border with Cameroon that hosts a military base on the heavy military escort. And in business, the federal government has launched the Nigerian Post-Harvest System Transformation Program to cut 3.5 trillion naira annual food losses and straighten food security. And on the foreign scene, we brought to you that British hard-right leader Nigel Farage has rallied his enthusiastic Reform Party at the start of its annual conference, seizing on the local government woes to insist his movement could seize power within 2 years. And finally, in sports, women's tennis world number 1 Anya Sabalenka has successfully defended her U.S. Open crown with a 6-4, 7-6 win over American Amanda in New York. That's it on Global TV AM News. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Now kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @Global TV NG. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching. Up next is Global Morning. Stay tuned.
Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
A very good morning to you. Thank you for joining us here on Global Television. It's so great to know we're starting your working week with you, especially for those who are just returning from the weekend and by extension the holiday of Friday. I'm Uyag Mofwegwe saying welcome to Global Morning, and my colleague as usual, together with whom will give you 3 hours of value, is also on the program this morning.
Good morning, Uyi.
Good morning.
How's the weekend?
Well, I enjoyed it. I did.
What should I? Okay, I wanted to say something, but then I think you have a choice. But then I wanted to say, well, for those of us in the media, we don't have any other choice than to enjoy our weekend.
Even while you are very hard at work.
You know, it's so good to have you join us on Global Morning today. Like we have said, it's going to be a 3-hour power-packed program lined up for you this morning. It's good to have you join us. Good morning once again.
Great. Of course, Nigerian issues are the things we bring to you. Every other day we come here on the program, 7 days a week. One of those issues now, I mean, quite troubling, is the showdown, as the media would always refer to it, which is the strife now between Dangote Refinery and the National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers and NUPENG. Ramsey, you and I just had something close to a chit-chat off the record a while ago about this same issue and how that it's an issue of national concern for obvious reasons, all right? Because first of all, you're looking at how the role of NUPENG as a union is pivotal to not just the oil and gas sector, but to a national development, to a national economy. But now the Dangote Refinery also has its own concerns. It says, look, we need to be more efficient with the things we do. We need to cut costs, I mean, for the long term and things like that. And they say they are beginning to consider the idea of introducing their own trucks, such that they have to rely less, if at all, they need to, on using trucks owned by NUPENG members. And NUPENG says, no, that won't work, because whether you like it or not, we have been in this industry from inception, and we have brought more value than you can imagine, and as such, that status quo should remain. There are also some industry players who say that whatever Dangote is proposing shouldn't come as a shock, that even the Petroleum Industry Act supports it, but NUPENG continues to say that today is going to go on a full throttle strike, and its own president, Mr. Akborera, also acknowledges that the federal government reached out to the union leadership already by way of intervention, trying to mediate in this crisis, or whatever you would like us to call it right now, but he says the union is doubling down on its resolve to go on strike.
Well, I think Dangote Refinery, for a lot of people, have come to stay, and of course Nigerians look at it as since we can't have our own refinery and one of us is coming up with this idea, let's throw away whatever it is, every strife, and make it work, so that at least we can boast of having one refinery instead of always taking our crudes outside and putting our money in some people's pocket unnecessarily. Some persons will look at it and tell you, well, it doesn't make sense for you to have like 3 refineries and they are not functioning to the extent that you have to carry your crude, your own resources, all the way abroad, refine and bring it back. It doesn't make too much sense to some Nigerians. Then Dangote Refinery came up and Nigerians were excited about it. But now, the fight between Dangote and Dangote Refinery, let's just refer to the corporation and the company now, Dangote Refinery and the NNPC, NUPENG and other unions started long ago, including marketers.
That's right.
You remember what happened? A lot were said when Dangote Refinery came to the fore. Some persons said, well, what they have is adulterated. A lot of people said, well, what they have is not going to serve the number of Nigerians that uses petrol and all of that.
In terms of demand.
In terms of demand.
Right.
So many things came up to which sound to me demoralizing, because you know how it feels if you are in a family and you feel, well, in our family we don't have anyone doing this thing, everybody is doing it, and you want to do it, and your family members are talking you down instead of encouraging you. There's a way you feel.
That's right.
But then some persons are of the school of thought that well, when Dangote came into cement, the story never remained the same. That same cement is being sold in some other countries cheaper than it's being sold in Nigeria, where the raw materials are being gotten and where it's being manufactured and produced and all of that. Some persons are of that school of thought, and they felt, well, Dangote refinery may not be different from what is already on ground. Now fast forward to the issue of Nopeng and Dangote truck and all of that. Dangote, I think that was supposed to take effect from, was it August also?
That's right.
But because of some little delay, logistic delay or something, maybe late arrival of those trucks, they've not started. And all these things started when Dangote's cousin, Dan Tata, started recruiting independent drivers, okay, to handle their own truck, and their truck is CNG compliant. And they said, well, we want to do our things independently. We don't want to depend on the Truck Drivers Association and all of that. We want to do our own thing, just like you said. Maybe for efficiency's sake,
cost measure.
There is nothing like, well, you are transporting from Lagos to Maiduguri, for instance, because of the distance. People in Maiduguri will need to buy very high than people in at the North Central, all of that, because of cost of transportation. All of that being put into consideration, because now it is CNG. It's not going to be as expensive as it used to be. Then Dangote is now doing it. If you're buying, I will handle the transportation. Yours is just to get the product and go to bed. You just see it at your location and all of that. These are in a bid to ease some struggle that the marketers and maybe some other persons have been going through. But then these people are in the business. They see, there are some things they see that we don't see as outsiders.
That's right.
And they've been there for a very long time. So for the tank drivers to come out crying and said Dangote is trying to adulterate their plan, you know, what has been on ground, that this thing in the long run will not pay Nigerians, are looking at other antecedents that have been on ground before now, as far as it has to do with Dangote cement and every other thing that he's producing, you know. And they are now saying we are shutting down. We want to go on strike. And you know what that strike is going to cost to the nation?
Right.
Already the economy is dwindling. You know, how much more having more strike action is what the federal government will not want to hear at this point in time. And even as at yesterday, Falana, the Sun, have also interfered, give out some laws, made some pronouncements why Dangote shouldn't do so. And the reason why it's important for the federal government to intervene on time so that this thing doesn't deteriorate, then we'll start doing control, how to manage the damage control later on. So I think what the federal government should do now, like Nopeng and other associations, the Tank Drivers Association has said, they say they want a round table discussion. They just want to get to the round table and just talk. But the bottom line is this: whatever they are going to arrive at, it shouldn't just be about Dangote and the marketers and Nopeng alone. We are the ones at the receiving end. Nigerians, the average Nigerians are the ones at the receiving end. So Nigerians should be put into consideration. They should be considered first, because we are the last consumers, of this product. So whatever happened, the bureaucracy, whatever happened from the top, it will just come down and settle with the average Nigerians, and they bear the brunt of what some other persons are making money, some other persons are crying, and of course not smiling. So I think the federal government needs to, in their own wisdom, let me use that word, in their wisdom, handle this situation with care, taking the Nigerian populace into consideration.
Brilliantly said, Ramsey. Well, what more can we say? So much issues to be discussed on the program today. We're taking a quick break. When we return, all of those issues will be unpacked right here on Global Morning. All right, so one of the issues we're looking at on the program this morning is the 2027 election and all of the rhetorics that we're hearing around it. On the one hand, there's the incumbency issue, the fact that President Bola Tinubu, as of today, apparently is the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Much as the man has not come out categorically to state his interest in standing for re-election in less than 2 years' time, but the handwriting on the wall is very clear, all right? Whether you're looking at it from the standpoint of the president himself, or from his aides, or from even within the All Progressives Congress, I mean, the message is very, very clear. On the other hand, you have the coalition that says, look, our ultimate objective is to unseat President Bola Tinubu in such a way that he doesn't have a shot at, I was going to say the White House, but of course, is Aso Rock Villa in 2027. And then you have the PDP, the People's Democratic Party, a party that was once the incumbent, a party that has also been referred to as the leading opposition party, even though there is now the debate as to whether or not the party has not been so demoralized and demobilized internally in such a way that its own opposition tactics are far from effective. Now says it's not going to join the coalition. It wants to do, well, let's say Bruce Willis, one man or last man standing, that kind of thing. But the point in all of this is that it has become a tense conversation we're having already, even though 2027 seems a bit far-flung. Will PDP join the coalition? As of today, the party says, no, we're not joining. Will coalition be able to unseat President Bola Tinubu, ensure that it doesn't return for a second term in office? The coalition leaders say yes, they will be able to pull that off. You ask the APC, are you concerned, are you worried, are you bothered about all of the things we're hearing from the camp of this coalition? The ruling party says, well, we are going to go to bed with two eyes closed because President Bola Tinubu is not only going to win in 2027, he's going to win by a landslide. So it depends on who you are listening to. But in all of this is one of the conversations that we're having today, because politicians will always have their own conventional conversations. But what are the indicators that we're looking at right now? Because you probably want to start from the continuous voter registration. INEC has given us numbers the last 1 week and counting, even though the coalition again is saying that those numbers are questionable, that they are demanding some sort of forensically audited report of those figures. But Nigerians generally feel at this point in time the conversation should center on encouraging the voting public, especially those who are of age but do not have PVCs or can't vote because their PVCs have been misplaced or defaced, to ensure that they register taking advantage of this round of CVR.
Yeah, I think 2027 is 2027 election is going to be a different ball game altogether from every election we've had in Nigeria.
Why is that?
This is the reason. We have an incumbent who studied the terrain for several years before he came on board.
Before throwing his hat in the ring.
Before throwing his hat in the ring, right. And he got it. That is from outside the ring. Now he's in the ring.
Now he's the champ.
Now he's the champ, as it is right now. With all the champions belt and everything, with both new and strategies coming together, having more people to work with than he had while he was still proposing and aspiring from outside the ring. Now he's got all it takes. A lot of people are defecting. We're hearing here from every angle, people throwing their support and all of that. 2027 has not come. Then we have these other persons who are plotting seriously without even making noise. Not the coalition yet. There are people who are game masters, who are actually on the ground doing their own thing, all right, keeping people in suspense. As it is right now, you remember when Peter Obi emerged?
Right.
In 2023.
That's right.
I think how many months to election before he emerged and got to Labour Party? And Labour Party got the kind of acceptance they got because of Peter Obi.
The Obi factor.
The Obi factor.
Right.
Who knows if other factors may still emerge in 2027. People that are just silent, they are just playing their games right now, looking for party or liaising with party. Even the ADC that we're talking about, a lot of internal crisis in ADC as we speak. The coalition has not really been accepted fully by ADC because there are internal contentions from the north.
And that plays to the advantage of the APC.
Of the APC. See, APC and APC chiefs have told me in the past that they are not even bothered. They are not worried. That their only worry is the fact that they are not having a commensurate opposition. The way they opposed, the way they came as opposition against the People's Democratic Party back then, that they've not had that kind of strong opposition, and that it's worrisome. And when people were talking about one-party system because of the level of defection that we've had, we're talking about defections not just at the world level now, but this defection is happening from the top down. And you know what I mean?
Including sitting governors.
Including sitting governors. By the time a governor defects, what do you think will happen to his cabinet? Some governors even said, well, I'm defecting. If you still want to remain in my administration, defect with me.
Otherwise,
do
the honorable thing.
Do the honorable thing. And you know how it happens in Nigeria. If you've been following the antecedents, how elections are being conducted in Nigeria, you discover that after the presidential election, any party that wins the presidential seat, there's a way it flows down to the world. So you should.
Very well.
So with what is happening right now, 2027 election is going to be so thick. Let me use that word. But now Nigerians are clamoring for certain things. Let's be able to vote from anywhere. The voting should be online.
Right.
I shouldn't have to travel all the way to my ward or wherever it is I register to vote. I should be able to vote from anywhere. Now we are having online registration, and INEC have a way of coming up with different ideas for every election cycle. Remember, it was card reader, beavers. Now it's online registration. We don't know if we are going to have online voting, diaspora voting in 2027. All these things are in the pipeline, and Nigerians are clamoring for it. So as it is right now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, okay, let me talk about the coalition a little bit.
By all means.
El-Rufai, for instance, have come out to say, well, it's in 2027. In fact, after the first set of election, nobody will win.
He was talking about worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario.
Right.
Okay, it's going to be a rerun. But in the rerun, the president, the sitting president, will not even be part of the rerun, because in the first instance, he's not going to be part of it. And some persons have said, well, these are political statements, looking at who El-Rufai himself is. These are people who were flocking together at the point, who know how these things are being done for somebody to become a president or to get into a political office in Nigeria. And now one of the things that ADC have come out to say is they are ready to block all the ways. It was from the ADC that I know that elections in Nigeria, some elections are being rigged. Because they say they will block all the rigging loopholes. Meaning that they were actors. All of them, everyone in the ADC are actors in the game who have been in one political office or the other. Meaning they've had maybe... I don't know, but from their statement and body language, it means some of the elections that even got them into office were not free and fair. If they are coming out to say, well, we'll block all the loopholes, all the rigging techniques and tactics that we know, because we're there, we did it and all of that, now we will block all those loopholes and all of that. It calls for questioning. Then you begin to look at these people, their pedigree, what do they have? Well, they've been in that office before. What else do they have to offer? Is another Peter Obi going to emerge okay, to in ADC, because the only thing that will change the game is a fresh blood altogether. And that was what happened in 2023 when Peter Obi came because of his antecedents in Anambra State. Nobody heard about him again after that Anambra governorship position until 2023, that he just from nowhere, very close to the election.
That was after he ran alongside Atiku in 2019.
In 2019, PDP, yes. In PDP. And everybody, there is a way you get rotated in a particular political party that people will think, no, this one will never leave the party again. But these are politicians, you can't predict them. So I think the bottom line is that 2027 is going to be one election that will surprise Nigerians. But let's just keep our fingers crossed and see if we will have a free and fair elections.
Well, ultimately, that's what matters, free and fair elections where people do not have to spill blood just to carry the day. We're blessed in this country to have had a president who also was standing for election, but had one message that he constantly sold to Nigerians, where he said that his ambition was not worth the blood of any citizen. We'll hopefully bring that same mantra and that same principle, that same spirit to every election cycle, whether general or upgrade in our dear country. We're taking a quick break. When we return, we'll be looking at the headlines from today's newspapers for you. Please do stay with us.